Hello guys, welcome back. Red here. This video is going to be about the headhunter. This is Iratus, Lord of the Dead. And if you've seen my other playlist videos, I recommend you go and see The Bride of Iratus because I've covered the 100% Wrath build from Iratus's um, tech trees, I suppose. So go and have a little look at that. If you want to find it, click on the playlist in the description below. And it's only 10 minutes long. It won't take you long. Go and see that because I've been talking about Wrath a little bit, and in that video I explained it. I don't want to repeat myself. So the Headhunter, man, he is pretty friggin' awesome. I love this guy. He's got so much utility. It's unreal. So I haven't got obviously the same as all the others. He's pretty stock, so I wanted to show you what his stock damage is after he's got to level 7. As you can see, he's got 23 to 38 physical damage, which is pretty good. Really good. He's got 21 to 27 dread or stress damage, which is quite medium. He's got 85% chance to hit. That could do with a bit of work. And he's got 0% evasion, that too, and 12% chance to crit. But he does have 7 armor, 0 resistance to magical attacks. He's got 1 block on him, and I think that came from probably this Blood Diamond here. And he's got 7 initiative. Now he needs an extra point in initiative, so I'll be looking for an item when I start putting items in here with a bit of initiative just to get him above that magical number of 8. The soul gem gives him +3 dread, buffs his dread up because this is a dread build. If you haven't seen my other videos, this is a pure dread build, and I've put on this +1 block on him. Now really I don't know why I did that, because he should, if he had, why did I do that? Tell you what, let's fix that right now. Let's go and make a sash for him. Do we have a purple sash actually? Is that what I was doing? Let's have a look. No, I don't. Let's make a sash for him real quick. It's a basic, whoops, let me do that. Just a basic sash. And that should pump him up to, let's get rid of that. That should pump him up to 9. Yeah, I don't know why I dropped that. Oh, I actually remember now. It's because one of the armor pieces I was just about to put on him after this video, or one of these pieces, does actually have evasion. It does actually have um, evasion on it. Yeah, there is 2 evasion, 2 initiative. Well, never mind. Okay, so he's got 9. Now he's got 9 initiative, which is awesome. And let's have a little look at his stats. Now the perfect position for him is either first or second. If you're running a physical build and you're going for physical damage, it's pretty good to put him in the first position because he does have the ability to cast this Seething Wrath, which I'll come to in a second. But for the stress build, the second, for the dread build, the second position is pretty good. Right, so let's start at the top. Dual slash, physical attack. Attacks 2 random enemies, dealing 60% damage to each enemy. Now, if you take the right hand branch, you get +5 precision, but you change it so that you target the chosen enemy and the enemy standing behind it. So rather than it being random, now you can actually choose the enemies you want to attack, which is really good. You should take that one. The one on the left just has a 5% chance to kill an enemy, which is okay, but obviously 5% is 5%, and this is pretty constant. So take that one for the physical build and the dread build. And then on the second line, we have something called Catch 'em, and this deals 80% physical attack to a random enemy and moves it to the first position. For the physical build, it's not bad. For the dread build, it's okay as well, I guess, if you want to drag somebody from the back. But generally, from this dread build, you can attack anybody in almost any position, so it doesn't really help that much unless you want to move somebody from the front back one, like the golems, for instance. When you get the golems into the 3rd or 4th position, they're actually quite useless. All they do is buff themselves up. So it might be useful, something to keep an eye on. And then on the if you branch off as well, you get +1 armor, and it ignores block. Does it go up in damage? Yeah, you actually lose some damage, but it does actually ignore block. So on the right hand side, there's a 50% chance to stun. That's pretty good. Moves the enemy to first position, ignores block as well. But it doesn't lose any percentage to his physical attack. So yeah, this one might be better. But I don't use it in this build anyway, so maybe if you're doing a physical attack, maybe you want to give some thought about which one of these you want to put into rather than what I did here. On the third line, this stress attack, and this deals 150% damage to random enemy. That's pretty good, that 150%. And on the branch, I've taken the +4 dread, and it deals 85% damage to 2 random targets. So 85 and 85, obviously that's 170% damage, and on its own 150. So it does 20% damage to but the 2 guys, and it's pretty good that, because when you're trying to go for if you get a guy down to 0 dread and you're going for the death kill, hitting 2 guys, it's not about the damage so much at the when you got a guy down to 0. It's about hitting them for anything you can, which will obviously make them have a heart attack and kill themselves. So I'd stick with that for the dread build. For the physical build, maybe go the other way. I don't know. On the fourth line, we've got Seething Wrath. Now this marks a selected position. At the beginning of his next action, the headhunter will deal 100% of his physical damage, which is amazing, to any enemy at the marked position. The attack doesn't spend an action. The headhunter doesn't miss this attack. So it's guaranteed hit. I'm not sure if it negates a block. I think it doesn't. So you've got to be careful what you use it on. But basically, you cast this on a position rather than a person, and then he goes into a kind of stance, and then at the end of the turn, he goes and he does 100% physical damage hit. And then it doesn't end his turn. It doesn't end the next turn, so he gets another turn afterwards, or he doesn't lose the next turn. Basically, it's pretty decent thing to have in a physical build, but in the dread build we won't be using it that much, if at all. It branches off to the left, and it's a pretty good debuff actually with the 2 armor. It also allows the attacked enemy to lose all armor and all resistances until the end of the battle. So in the physical build, this is pretty friggin' awesome. I mean, it comes in handy now because obviously there are enemy that I use physical attacks on, but his dread attacks are pretty decent as well. And on the fifth line, we have Bloody Harvest, and this does physical attacks, but only 40% to each enemy, to every enemy in the line. And again, on a physical build, that's pretty awesome. And if you branch off to the right, it gives him +2 physical damage, and physical attack deals 50%, 12 to 9, 40%, and it gives him an extra 10% physical damage, which is okay. And then on the last line, we have the most overpowered attack skill in this game. Now, obviously, this uses Wrath, and I'm running a 100% Wrath build, which means I don't really want to be using my Wrath. But sometimes, it's just worth using, because this does a 200% hit. But when you branch off to the left, it gives you +6 physical, which is great. And it ignores block, and it gives a 99% chance to kill an enemy, which literally is, and I've not seen that 1% trigger yet, and I've used this quite a bit. But if you branch off the left, it increases the Wrath cost to 80, which is quite a bit. But you will use this quite a lot. It's great. It's actually, I think it's overpowered, and obviously when I'm doing this video, it's early access, so I think they might change that to a lesser percent chance later on, maybe. I don't know. But at the minute, it's proper overpowered. I mean, if you get 2 of these guys in your build at level 7, well, there's nothing they can do about it really, apart from the mana cost of the Wrath cost, which is quite high. But you can do stuff with the Wrath to increase it every turn. So the Wrath return is not so bad. You could even get other characters in your build which increase your Wrath per turn. So yeah, so that's pretty friggin' awesome, and that is the headhunter in a nutshell. Now, if there was 2 characters, well, 3 characters, I would just take every build. It would be the Bride, the Banshee, and the headhunter. They're all great. I like the Mummy, but I think there's other people that can, I don't know. I haven't played every class yet. I have just unlocked the vampire, so I'll be doing a playthrough with that, and I'll be recording that actually, and we'll talk about it real time when I'm doing the build, and we'll see what I'm going to do because I've done. This is the build now for the. This is the build for the Dread build, which I'm quite happy with. I think I might do the last dungeon and I might record that. So the next video you might see might be me playing the last dungeon with these 4 guys that I've got, and then you can see the awesome power of my build. They do have a lot of purple items on them as well, and my Iratus tree is coming along really nicely, and I'll talk about that I think tomorrow. Probably it's getting late now, and we'll cover that in detail. So tomorrow we'll be playing the game. It's not so much about the characters' builds. We'll be playing the last dungeon or the third dungeon. And I think that's pretty much it. The only thing else I would say about the Banshee, about the Headhunter, is he doesn't have a great amount of HP, so he does get himself into a bit of trouble sometimes. So when we upgrade him to purple items, just keep an eye out for stuff that's got health on it, and maybe some blocks and maybe some wards, which will help him out a bit, because he does tend to get into a bit of, as you can see from my last fight, he took most of the damage, and they tend to focus him for some reason. Okay, so I'll see you tomorrow for the playthrough. Hope you enjoyed the video. Don't forget to subscribe and or bookmark my playlist, and I'll see you then. Thanks very much. Good night.